everybody. I'm so excited to have you back with us again this week. I have got the most wonderful, wonderful guest this week. This woman has been inspiring me for about 10 years. She's and I'm going to say it wrong, naturopathic, natural nature. All right, I'm going to have her tell us. She's a doctor. Naturopathic, I think it is, doctor. She helps women over 45 find their purpose and their place and their happiness. She has accomplished all kinds of things in her lifetime. She's Reiki Master. She's the bomb. And I love this woman, and she is coming to us today from the Bahamas. You can all be jealous now because she's awesome and lives in an awesome place. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring my dear friend, Dr. Angelika Christie, on.
Oh, hello, beautiful, my beautiful friend.
She's like, it's Angelika, Karen.
Well, I mean, few people get it right. Only those who live in the Bahamas or European, they say Angelika. Okay, so it's Angelika. But in the United States, I hear Angelika, and if they think maybe I'm exotic, they say Angelika.
You are exotic. You are exotic. And that is the honest to goodness truth. Tell us about all the wonderful things that you've done. I went to pull up your reminder, and it's like I've got a whole list of things in my head, and I can't picture all of them now, and my reminder didn't come up. So tell us.
Maybe I give you my one true sentence first. It kind of describes who I am. I break rules. I break rules for justice, for freedom, for love, and to be true to myself. And I come from Germany, very old aristocratic family. And since I'm a free spirit, always have been, I broke all kinds of rules. And one of the most unforgiving one was that I fell in love with a man early on. I was only 16, but I thought he was it for the rest of my life. But he was the son of almost like Romeo and Juliet, of parents who were in very fierce competition with my parents. So it was a kind of a forbidden relationship. But to make a long story short, we were separated so many times, and I left home and I moved away 500 miles away, the south of Germany, and in Munich, and that's also where I studied. But of course he visited, and I got pregnant. And so I had an illegitimate, I had a love child, okay? Illegitimate, what does that mean, right?
I was going to say, what does that mean? Yeah.
I had a love child. So that was kind of, that was a rule that I broke, of course. And it was crazy, but it was amazing for me. I mean, I was only 20 years old, so it changed my life, of course, right away. But it also made me grow up quicker, I believe. But from the very beginning, when I was born, my father must have been in shock because everybody in my family has blonde hair and, typical Northern European, German. And so I was born with jet black, straight hair and jaundice and slanted eyes. I looked like a Japanese doll.
Oh, wow.
And so, I mean, it was crazy. So I already started out, being shocking people.
Rebellious.
Rebellious, yes. But of course, when the black hair fell out, blonde, fine hair grew back in, and all of this with the slanted and with a little bit of the yellowish skin was because I had jaundice. So it was just, that. And I just realized, oh my God, you see something rebellious. I didn't paint one of my fingernails.
I love it. That is rebellious. I'll tell you what.
Oh my goodness, forgot. So it is. And
You know, I've done worse. Trust me on that.
yeah, I have done worse too, but I'm just noticing it. Oh my goodness. So it's like the cracks, right? We need to love the cracks in our life, the imperfection,
Yeah,
because I mean that's what makes us either upset or we smile, and we take it with lightness and see how life truly is. It isn't perfect, and
right.
that's always a lesson. So anyway, I from Germany, and I got married and had two more children. That made three German children. And at the age of 33, I think 33 or 34, um, I fell in love with the Bahamian man. While my first husband and I, we loved the Bahamas. We came to the Bahamas at least once or twice a year until we bought an apartment in Freeport. That's where I live now. I mean, it's crazy. And not in that apartment, of course. And I just, it was just as if a gigantic fist or hand picked me up and planted me into the Bahamas. When I came back to Germany, even though I was married, still married, I felt like a stranger. I wasn't there anymore. So it took about another year, but I moved to the Bahamas. I left my first husband, and also I had to leave two children behind. That was very,
Mhm.
very painful, because
Yeah.
the judge, um, back then, that's a long, long time ago, 50 years or so, he decided that the Bahamas was not the place for young German children to grow up.
Yeah.
you know, but one of that child that I had to leave lives here and has the most exquisite and beautiful restaurant. you know
Oh, wonderful.
yes,
I
yes,
can't wait to come visit.
yes, yes. It's called the Stoned Crab Restaurant. It's beautiful. When you Google it, in the Bahamas, it's one of the most amazing places, right on the beach. But anyway, so my life was kind of. Then I moved to the Bahamas, had two more children, and beautiful. They are a little bit mulatto because my husband is mulatto as well. He's black, but not really black, So they were mixed
Uh-huh.
races in there, and he's an attorney, and so there was another challenge. Even though he is my soulmate, but so many women believe that soulmates are men who just know what they want and become bliss bunnies. A
Mhm.
soulmate is not a bliss bunny. The soul calls to you a person who you are compatible with, but you need to both need to learn. So the
Right.
best place to learn is in a relationship, right?
Yes. Better to learn there than to not learn at all.
Right, right. Yes. And so with my second husband, we got divorced after a 10-year marriage. I left once more, and because the Bahamas was a very male-oriented country,
Mhm.
highly Christian, and since I spent 5 years in the mother house of the Ursuline nuns, Christian. Not in the convent, but it was a boarding school where the convent was right next to it.
Right.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
And I got cursed there. I got cursed by Mother Superior that I would never have a decent life and I may as well be a whore. At 10 years, I didn't even know what that meant because on an outing, I was jumped in a bumper car, the bumper car rides. I love those. And I was not supposed to have done that. Be with a young man my age. We had 1 minute of fun of a ride, and that ruined my life, according to her. She really cursed me. And so I really turned away from church and from dogma and all of that for a very, very long time. So here I am in a Christian country. We have more churches here than anything else.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, yes. But even before I came here, or just in the very beginning, I was introduced to Reiki. And Reiki was, today everybody knows Reiki, but 40 years ago, it was.
Oh, yeah, that was an unknown and woo-woo.
Yes, exactly. But I really fell in love with it because it was so beautiful, so gentle. I mean, I was always spiritual, but it really it helped me to make even peace with the churches. They have their place. It's not for me to judge, but I'm beyond, dogma. And Christ, the Christ light is universal. It is universal life force energy. It is love, and we have entered since 2012 the area, the age of Aquarius, which is the age of the feminine, the rise of the feminine, and the age of the heart chakra, the love. Love is the answer. Whatever arises, love that, and love free what is not appropriate for you in your life anymore. So anyway, make a long story short, I was in the Bahamas, and I'm here for the last, since 78. So it's a long 1978. But I took a 10-year.
For a day or two.
Yeah, but I took a 10-year leave, so to speak. I always had a home here, but when I left my husband, of course, we were not together, even though we never really burned the bridges because we had 2 children. So we did a lot of things together and we didn't hate each other. And actually, after 10 years, we came back together again. We remarried, like a fairy tale wedding in Venice, Italy. It was gorgeous. All our children and grandchildren, everybody was there. And now it's forever. It took me about 10 years to really step fully into who I am and was not just Mrs. Brantford Christie. I didn't have an identity before. So it was always very, very meaningful, even though rebellious and not understood by most people. But in the end, there was always a purpose in everything, and this is what is so amazing in our lives, in everybody's life, that when you follow your intuition and really know from your heart, there are changes that you have to make because there is just that internal push, and if you don't listen, and if you don't go within and figure out what this means, and then take the chance and have the courage to change something, then you may stay in a place where you believe that it's safe, but nothing is actually safe.
Yeah.
The only safety is within yourself, right? Within you.
Yeah.
You are safe within you, and you are loved and blessed and cherished by the universe, by God, by your angels, by your masters, teachers, and guides. You are safe there. But you're not safe because you do anything in particular or need to hang on, even though it's not right for you anymore. So
yeah. Now I like, instead of the term rebellious,
yeah,
I like brave and adventurous.
Yes, brave and adventurous, because life is an adventure. And let me tell you, it goes, and I can say that because up to when I was about 60 or so, I never thought about that I would get old or older, or that life could, you know, that I'm getting closer to the end of my life. I always had that very youthful young spirit within me. And, and it took a while for me. Only in my 70s, I realized that, life is short, and it doesn't wait for anything. When you have the opportunities, take it, live your life, really live it with conscious choice and with joy and with, curiosity. Because as long as we stay curious, which I believe I am, I always stay curious, I always learn. That's an aspect of youth. It's not the outer thing, you know. It's the internal. It's your spirit. It's your inner self, your inner child, your inner, and the millions of or thousands of whatever lives that you have already lived. The wisdom that you have gathered in as a spiritual being, as a God-like being, spirit, immortal,
Mhm.
in a physical body, in a particular lifetime in which you are for a purpose, right?
I like that. I like that. Now, I know one of the things you do is you help women over 45 with find their journey, find their path, find their way, because a lot of us believe life ends at 45. Now I'm an old lady and I can't do anything anymore. And you and I have discussed that before.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like, nah, life is just beginning then.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I mean, we wear so many hats, especially we women, right? Because we women have do so much. I mean, if you want to stay single, don't want to get involved in a relationship, in a committed relationship, don't want to have children, play it safe, get a job somewhere. But I mean, it may be a very boring life, but it is. Some feel that this is a safe way of not to feel the pain, the heartaches, and all of this. But I believe that women, especially after 45, grow into the position where it's now becomes about them, not about their children anymore. There will always be a mother. If you're a mother, you're always a mother. But your children don't really need you in that same way. Now it's the discovery of who you are. Now it's the discovery of, what am I all about? Why am I here? What is the next chapter of my life? And I believe that because we wear so many hats, there is that discovery of your authentic, your true, your unapologetic self. Not what you have been told, not what you do, or so often when I ask my clients, who are you? They said, I am, and then they say a wife, a whatever, a mother, then their profession or what they do. They said, no, who are you? And so we are peeling, just like you peel an onion. We are peeling away all the layers of these learned identities and taken on identities and taking on responsibilities that bit by bit they fall away as we get older. And
Yeah.
so the beautiful thing is really, the most exciting thing is the discovery of yourself, that inner journey.
So,
No.
how does one go about discovering themselves?
Well, to just write down, who am I, and then just go deeper and deeper. What does this mean? I'm a wife or whatever. What does this mean? Is this all? Is this who I am? You say, okay, I have emptied my mind now about what that means. So we can tick that off. next? It's kind of, these are all of the
Right.
layers that we just take away. And then then we come to the internal, that
Right.
the incredible child self, unbound, innocent, full of joy and energy, immortal. Your child self is really the immortal self, I believe,
Right.
because it was fearless when you were born. You were fearless first until they made you fearful. Don't touch that. Stop doing this. And,
No, no, don't.
yeah, don't. you know,
Yeah,
and-
no, you think about it. We were fearless. I mean, we crawled, we rolled, we walked,
yeah,
and we crawled and rolled into places of danger, and we walked into
we
places of
didn't mind.
possible danger.
Mind. We didn't say, "Oh, I can't do it." No, we tried and tried and tried. I mean, can you imagine as a child when you get up and you fall, you say, "Oh, obviously I can do that."
Right.
I mean, makes no sense.
Yeah.
We lost,
Well,
but it's all within us. We still have that. And so, what
right,
we need to do is we don't have to learn anything. We have to strip away stuff.
right. Well, and it's like I tell people, and I've got up there accomplishments when you look at my name and stuff.
Yeah,
Dr. Karen Perkins, host, international speaker, best-selling author, blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
That's not who I am. Those are
yes,
things I just happen to have accomplished.
yes, exactly.
I'm
A
Karen.
long list of those things too. And
Yes,
this is not who I am.
yes. It's
Even
not who I am.
even though in today's world still, but I think we are slowly moving out of it. And it started when your story became more important than listing your accomplishments. So we're
Right,
slowly moving away from there. But it still, it still seems to be easier to be acknowledged if you have the whatever, the
hmm,
certificates and the doctors and the whatever, and what you have accomplished and gotten the awards and the accolades, and have this and have your own show and have speaking on international stages and have published books and all of this. I mean, then it comes to a point with what else, what now? Did that change me? Yes, it gave me a lot of experiences, and hopefully I have grown in exponentially in different areas, also in my understanding of who I am and my capacity to love, my capacity to embrace others, to really understand that we are here not just for our own enjoyment, even though that's number one, but also to leave a legacy, to make the place that we leave a better place, right?
Yeah, my little sister used to say, an inheritance is what you leave for people. A legacy is what you leave in people. And I like that
Nice.
because
Never heard
that
that.
makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, write this down. I think this is
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, Jace, go to comments and write that down for me.
yeah,
My executive assistant is like, go in there. In fact, here I can get close to my computer. I'll write it down.
yeah.
Um,
It's
but
a
yeah, isn't that beautiful?
safe. Yeah, I've never heard it before. Your
Yeah,
sister
she used to
said
say that all the times.
that.
And I can't spell.
Right?
Intense.
Yeah. Mhm.
I have many talents. Spelling is not one of them.
Me neither.
I figure that's what spell check and editors are
Yeah,
for.
but then spell check really can irritate you because it just is in no, 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 not this, and then you miss it, and then it's wrong. No, that's not how it's spelled, because
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you
people's
can
name,
hear me typing.
it just has a certain capacity, and when that's outside, then it just correct something that you did not meant to be corrected.
Well, and you think about it, how many words have different meanings
Yeah.
or different spellings? And, and they put the wrong spell. Yeah, it's like, oh my goodness.
And in the Bahamas, we have the English version of English, the British version of English, not the American. So, everything is spelled a little bit differently, like RE, like center RE, not
Hmm.
R. And so many other things, are spelled differently. But so my spell check goes back and forth because some documents they have to be spelled American English, and so it's an adventure.
You know what? I get confused sometimes because I've traveled all over the world and lived in so many different places that sometimes it's spelled American, sometimes it's spelled from the motherland. It's like,
Yeah.
who knows? But figure
Well,
it out.
so when you say from the motherland, what is the motherland for you?
Oh, the motherland, I just say for English is from
Oh,
England, the England English.
where it came from? Yes,
Um,
that's true.
yeah,
It is the
the
motherland.
England English is,
Yeah.
well, they call it the motherland, but it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Funny
but
because in Germany we call our native Germany is not our motherland, it's our fatherland. Isn't that strange? So in Germany it's called your country is called the fatherland.
oh, now that is very interesting.
Hmm.
I'd never heard that before, but that doesn't mean anything other than I hadn't heard it before.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's interesting, and I talk about us as we get older because you and I are over 45, barely, but
Eternally young inside. And
you know what? I forget I'm 61, and there are days that I wake up and it's like, I'm, well, some days I'm 12 and some days I'm 30, and it depends.
yeah,
But I get to interact a lot with young girls, and to me anyone under the age of 30 is a young girl. But these young girls are in their 20s, early 20s, and as we talk about things that were just we were raised with, and common stories and common quotes, they have no idea what you're talking about. They're not things that they have listened to
yes,
and heard.
yeah,
And so it's been very interesting because I've had the opportunity to retell a lot of old stories, and a lot of, like my Karenisms on Monday this week. I talked about crabs in the bucket, and they just went,
what's that?
what does that mean? What's a crab in the bucket? And it's like, crabs will pull each other down. So if you have more than one crab in the bucket, you don't need to put a lid on it. And they went, never ever heard of that. And a lot of people our age haven't heard of it either. I know, but it's just
Hmm, I-
interesting to me. Things that I know, I assume everybody else knows.
yes,
Things that
but
I've learned from my journeys, I assume everybody else has learned.
yeah. So sometimes we forget. I mean, especially I'm much older than you are. Um, the changes, the different decades that I lived through were nothing what we have today existed, but everything was we were living beautifully. We didn't have
Yeah.
seatbelts, but we didn't die.
And we drank out of hoses and we lived.
Yes, yes. When I think about the freedom of life, was much more lived in
Yeah.
the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s. But then, it started to, everything became dangerous. So I don't know. It's the world. But then look what we have today, how we can connect. That wouldn't
Yeah.
have been possible.
Right.
Technology has given us so many gifts. Um,
Right. Right.
and if we use them, like everything in life, you can abuse it or you can use it purposefully and mindfully,
Yeah.
and have tremendous um, profits or enjoyment from it. I mean, profits for those who do business, enjoyment for those for a family to come together that live in different parts of the world.
Yeah. I yeah, that is, you're right. And things that we couldn't do. I had one of the young ladies were here this morning and was sending a package to her mother. Now, I'm not saying this is true for everyone because I don't know,
Uh-huh.
but we don't send a lot of things anymore. We order them, but we don't send them. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Amazon and I are best friends. They just don't know it. you
Yes.
know?
Me, me too, because nobody. If I receive something, I need to pick it up anyway. Well, it needs to be brought into this
Yeah,
country, into the Bahamas, and once it's here, I have no desire to send it back because it's
it's
much
too difficult.
to
Oh,
go
well,
through those.
it's the same way.
But in the States, they do this all the time. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Well, it is here in Ecuador. We can't either. But this gal is from the States, and she
You
didn't know how to put an address on an envelope because she'd never mailed anything. And anything she ever had to mail was already filled out, and it was like just put it in the envelope and go. So didn't pay attention to it. And
Yeah.
I, I'm not mocking her. Please don't hear that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just it hit me how far technology has come, because
Yeah.
when I was that age, we wrote letters to everybody. That's how you connected with them. I mean,
Yes.
you didn't call people in the Bahamas from the States because it was just unheard of and too expensive.
15 minutes cost you at least, no, 1 minute, the first 3 minutes, no, I get it right. The first 3 minutes were $15. Can you believe that?
Yeah, and that was back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, so you mailed letters and you sent letters to everybody. So,
But you know
but
what I miss? I miss getting letters,
yeah, me too.
handwritten letters. I mean, I have them from my parents and I'm glad I kept, some of them, but going to my post box, we still have post boxes in the Bahamas here. We don't have uh, post delivered unless it comes through Federal
Yeah,
Express or the other,
yeah,
but
we don't even have post box.
we go to the post office and we have our post box there and look into it. And sometimes I don't go there for months because I don't really expect anything to arrive there anymore,
Yeah.
which is the truth.
Well, you know what? I'd like to make that challenge to everybody.
Okay.
Send somebody a love letter. Physically write a love letter to them. A friendship love, a romantic love, a hey, you're a good, you know, friend or sibling love.
Yeah.
But send somebody, just one person. I mean,
It-
I'd like if you did more, but send one person a love letter to say
I thought
thank
of,
you.
yeah, thank you for being in my life. Yes, it's so much joy to receive. I remember receiving cards and letters, and it's so different from opening your um, your phone or your
Email. Yeah.
computer, and you get an e-card or so. It's nice too, at the
Oh, yeah,
beginning,
those are nice.
fancy and moving and songs and all of that. But to actually receive something that somebody wrote and licked, sealed the envelope, and mailed to you, it's so nostalgic, when we think about this
Well,
today.
and touching something that's tangible and then opening it,
Yes, yes.
it's a whole
Conflict.
different concept.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you've given us an overview of your journey, but I'd like you to pick one
Okay.
event in life or one really profound journey that you would say has helped you the most in your spirituality and in your code for mature women and in helping people. So if you were to pick one really standout journey, what would it be?
Well, it may have been an event that, because as I said, I left my husband, Bahamian husband. I was divorced. We were divorced for 10 years and for a particular purpose. And then when I came back, there were certain things that did not change, and one of them were that he still considered me being, first of all, his wife and taking care of his needs first,
Mm-hmm.
and also very protective, saying, I still don't understand. You don't have to work. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing the other thing? Don't you think it's uh, and this was, at that time I was 60, over 65, and so all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, here it's he changed on the outside, but not really very much on the inside. And at that time, this was in 2017, 18, I really wanted to bring my gift into the world in a bigger way. I wanted to speak on international stages in the
Mm-hmm.
United States. And I never forget that evening when it went through my head, how am I going to tell him this? Because that means travel. It also meant spending more money because as you know, when you travel internationally and speak on
Mm-hmm.
international stages, it all costs money, right? And so I told him that this is what I wanted to do. And he said, you want what? They said, don't you know how dangerous it is out there, traveling by yourself and doing this, blah, 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 all of this. And so in the past, maybe I would have said, well, get a little bit of that. But I put my heart into my brain and into my willpower. I had that desire going through all of my chakras. They said, this is what is happening. This is what I'm doing. And I did. And for a whole year, I had amazing experiences. And in the end, it helped him to grow because he understood, he saw how it improved me as a person as well in my self-confidence. And the experiences were so amazing because, I was on stages like Carnegie Hall and in West Point and in Rockefeller Center up at the Rock, and Harvard Business Club in Boston. And I met celebrities, and I just really stepped out of the island life into the big,
Right.
into a abundant, big world of business and entertainment and all of this. And it was beautiful. And then 2020 came and COVID came and it was all finished. And yet that full year of all of the experiences, really gave me the confidence, and also I understood so many other things better, so it profits my clients now because I incorporate many of these things that I have experienced, and how to be fearless and how to be confident and align with who you really are, not because others say this is how you have to do it. No, how are you? because who you are is different from anybody and everybody else. And I mean, all of the teachings are continuing because COVID came. I had COVID quite badly. I was really out of business for a whole year, and when I went back in, I listened to everybody else in the marketing world again, and but it didn't feel right with me. But I pushed that away, and I did what they said I needed to do, and I had a stroke. Not a bad one, a TIA, but I had a stroke. So God again, the universe again told me, "What are you doing?" And I actually gave a whole talk about this breakthrough at a summit, and also I think. But anyway, it doesn't matter where But I talked about the alignment of your inner self, of who you are, what you stand for, with what you do on the outside. So if that is not in alignment, it stresses you so much it can kill you, you know.
Yeah.
But it's also not what you're supposed to do, and that was very, very clear. But again, it's a journey, because from that I discovered Kathy Taccheroni and the Golden Life community, and
Right.
I spent almost a year there, being part of the team to create this incredible, beautiful platform of for women 55 and over, especially
Yeah.
those who are lonely, divorced, widowed, not exclusively, but for a lot of these women who feel so on the back burner or forgotten, or, So I did this for a year until just a month ago, less than a month ago, I realized that this is not where I need to be. I did this. I got a tremendous amount of experience, and I gave all of me to this. So they received a lot of value from it. But now I am at a point where I want to pick the women that I want to work with.
I love that. I'm going to show your YouTube channel because I want these ladies to go out and watch some of your shows.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. Thank you. Yes. And I have the Win-Win Women. I'm part of that, and I will keep that for the last 2.5 years. I have a show like you have mine is every Saturday, and you were on my show, right? We were,
yeah, was on it.
yes. And this is for women 45 and over. Your radiant life after 45. And I never forget when you told me what your life became so amazing after, and it was all after 45, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I had an amazing life before then, but after 45 is when all of the really crazy stuff happened, and that shaped who I am now. And
yes.
I love hearing the things that have gone on in your life that's helped shape you.
Mhm.
Um, but I do want to follow back up on and ask the being true to your inner self by doing the things that outer that match the inner.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit more. I know you did a whole presentation on it, and we only have, limited time, a few minutes, but tell us more about that, because I know there are a lot of people, men and women out there, who are not in alignment.
Yes.
Um, they're not listening to their soul. They're not listening to their heart.
What really then happens is it's painful. Your body, we are energy. And so our internal energy is represented in how your body creates the outer, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is why when you're under a lot of stress, or you poison yourself with junk food and all of this, it not only is your energy low and you may be miserable, but you actually your cells can't breathe. They can't get what they need to feel, to replicate themselves, constantly in the
Right.
best way, to keep your organs and everything happy and healthy. And so it is so important. And when you are in out of alignment with whatever you do on the outside, you can say, oh, I'm highly spiritual, and this is what I believe, and all of this, but in your outer life it doesn't reflect that.
Hmm.
You're actually in tremendous amount of not only disharmony. What is the strongest word? You're in pain. You're in not friction pain. You are in a crazy distress without you actually knowing it.
Yeah.
But because it doesn't, your body cannot talk to you, but your body does talk to you in all of these little things. Like, I mean, you did this incredible healing for me of emotional release, right? And because we accumulate these things, and if we don't have a way of releasing them, correcting, or finding somebody like you, or somebody who can help you to release this and come into balance and in harmony, you're always in stress. You cannot be who you truly are because you're not, you're not grounded in who you are, which means that the slightest thing can just knock you off center anyway. Um,
No, and that's where they need to find someone like you to
yeah,
help them get in alignment.
yes,
And give myself a shameless plug. We have the retreat October 12th through
yes,
19th,
yes,
The
yes,
Power of You. In fact, I'm
yes,
going to just put up the ticker on that, maybe. Um, the Power of You retreat.
yeah,
Um, and we're going to go over what the soul wants and needs at that time, and get you into alignment.
yes,
Um,
yeah,
but still, even with that, oh, and if you're listening to this show, I have to put this up. If you're listening to this show, put in code AC500 for Angelika Christie, and you'll get $500 off of
wow,
the retreat,
oh
because
my
you're
God,
awesome.
yeah, please
So
use that.
AC500. So that's
Yes.
a gift that she's given you, and then you want to go to the retreat. So now that I've done my shameless plug, let's put your radiant life back up. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, we all do things for each other, and that's important. Is that we find someone like you that can help us get in alignment, and if it's not you, to do that internal meditation, to
yeah,
do whatever it takes to figure out, well, like you said before, who you are.
yes.
You know,
And
not
Karen, that even you and I mean, we have done so much, and we are at kind of at the top of our abilities to coach and to mentor, and yet we still have our coaches and mentors because
yes,
we have blind spots. We don't, for example, if somebody comes to me, I can see better what their advantage points are,
yeah.
then they may not see it, because they
Oh,
are so used to knowing what they have been done, because we are usually always doing the same things, you know.
well, and I laugh. I tell people never trust a coach that doesn't have a coach, because
Yeah,
it is continuous. Boy, I can't talk right now. Continuous growth and learning, and
yes,
even the things we already know and the things we already teach. I mean, have you ever heard the saying, "Do as I say, not as I do," or
yes.
"Gee, do, I've taught you what to do, but don't watch what I'm doing, because right now I'm not doing what I know I should be doing."
See, out
So
of
I've
alignment
forgotten.
doesn't
Yeah,
work.
I've forgotten. And a coach helps keep you in alignment, and that's always a good thing to have. And you know what? Different strokes for different folks. Different people are good coaches for you.
Yes,
And but
but
I think
you
strongly everyone should have a coach.
yes, And it's so amazing how it makes so much sense, because I always like to bring a little logic in there as well. If you have somebody who sees this and can help you with this, then your life is easier, becomes more, it gets into a different kind of flow. So you're not always hitting, you're not stumbling and hitting the walls or the big boulders or the little stones that hurt just as much, when you step on them.
Yeah.
Uh, but you have help, and we need each other anyway, right? We
Well,
need
and
each
you're
other.
not alone. We need each other. And you're not alone. You feel like somebody's on the journey with you and you feel support. And that's
Yeah.
what it's all about. We're all on a journey. Are we
Yes.
on the journey we want to be on? Are
Right.
we on the path we want to be on?
Yeah.
And who who can help us stay on that path or get on that path
Yeah.
or guide us to that path?
Yes.
And can we do it on our own? Oh, absolutely. Is it easy? Oh, absolutely not.
No. Lots of
But
people.
it takes some doing.
Yeah. And
And
so much is available online, on YouTube, in books, but and it's wonderful. And yet, this is not how you really assimilate and learn, because it's you need somebody else to
right.
and I mean, it's beautiful if you have a circle of friends where you learn and study something together, and that's
Yeah.
usually led by a coach as well, who you can ask questions.
Yeah. Well, and just see things from a different point of view. Hear things from a different point of view. And you'd already said that. Coaches can see things from a different angle that we just we're in the trenches. We can't see what's going on around us.
And they don't
Yeah.
have an agenda like your family may have. Your family
Right.
is usually not the best place to go. There are always exceptions, but usually they see you the way you have been in the past, and they don't really want you to change. They
Yeah.
or they would maybe be, but they feel they're too afraid that maybe something could happen to you, or all of these
Yeah.
things. So they have an agenda, and a coach is only there for you to guide you the best way possible, and
Yeah.
not have coaches don't have agendas. I mean, you need
Right.
to do them, yes, but that's it. That's all.
Yeah, I love that.
No
Well,
personal agenda.
if you were to give advice for people on their journey, what advice would you give?
I would say take time, make pauses. We are so busy in our lives today. If you want to set your your device on um, once a once every hour or 3 times a day, to just pause. If it's for a couple of minutes or if it's for more, that's great. Just pause. Uh, Empty your mind, let everything turn out, breathe, keep your body still as well, because sometimes, everything is always in movement. So bring that stillness into your body and just be curious, open yourself up and see what happens. And if you make an agreement with the universe to do that on a regular basis, the universe will know, okay, we deliver, you know, be ready, be open to receive. And but yeah, I think one of the most important thing is that we get so busy with everything that we are exhausted from all of it, even if it's good stuff. But
Yeah.
we need, our bodies need pauses, just like if you want a muscular body, yes, you do the training. You don't need hours and hours. You can do 15 minutes a day, but the recovery is just as important as the
Right.
as the it's because that's when the muscle grows, right? And so the mental or a spiritual or emotional pause is really when the brain has the ability, and your heart, to throw out what it doesn't want and make sense of what it has received. And so you profit from that more than anything else, pausing.
I love that. Pause.
For some reason, you just
Okay, let's all pause.
pause. Yeah.
Yep. And my stuff went dark for a second. I paused and my computer went down.
Yeah,
But
yes, you froze for a moment, but I think
yeah,
happened with me before, because I think I lost Wi-Fi for just a couple of seconds, but I came back
yeah.
earlier. Earlier, yeah. Technology.
Well,
Oh, we are tomorrow.
technology.
Yes.
Well, I think it was the universe telling me I need to pause more often.
Yes. Take the hint. Yes, right.
The universe is telling me, and it has to tell me through technology, because I tend to sit at my computer all day long between my coaching clients and stuff that I'm doing online, and so I yeah, got to get away from the computer and pause.
Yeah, get away
The
from it.
universe
Go
just
out
spoke.
into nature. Put your feet onto the ground. Take in the energies from Gaia, from Mother Earth. You know, we are,
Yeah.
and I think I showed you before. I have the ocean here, and before I came in and had my shower, I had a beautiful walk on on the beach.
Oh, that is so awesome. Yes. And you do have a beautiful beach there, and a beautiful home, and a beautiful heart.
Oh,
And your heart is what's the most important.
yes,
And I have learned so much from you. And we talked a little while ago, and I told you that you were a mentor silently to me without you knowing it, that I watched you, I stalked you.
yes,
I stalked you. I watched you from afar, even though we saw each other at events regularly and we talked periodically. I watched you from afar, and I learned so much, and you
yeah. You never
improved my
told.
life through you and watching what you were doing. And yet I didn't know any struggles or things that were going on. What I saw was your heart and
Mm,
what you were giving to other people, not to what was going on to you. And
oh,
that says a lot about a person when they can have things going on around them and to them. And those things happen to all of us,
yeah,
but they can stay true to their heart, and they can still share that heart and that love with others. So
yes.
thank you for doing that for me.
And and thank you for bringing this up, because the heart is really our. This is where it all comes from, and that's where we feel love.
Yeah.
And yet, what I feel today is on this world that we are moving forward into is that the heart becomes our brain. The heart
Yeah.
is becomes the thinking part, because the heart has always had a much larger field of radiance and energy field than the brain. The heart always has informed the brain, but we have always thought of the brain as being where everything of thoughts and everything comes from. It's actually the heart. So,
Yeah.
and that's happiness code for mature women. This is after I left the Golden Life community. This is what I'm focusing on now, because there are particular special codes that I've found have helped me in my life to unlock happiness in different areas of life. Since I'm a
Well,
naturopathic doctor, in health, in relationship, I'm a relationship coach too, in spirituality, and so it all comes together.
we'll have you back on another time and go over some of those codes.
Yeah,
Seriously, those codes are important for everybody to have, and I would love to have you back. We'll get together and
yeah.
we'll schedule that for another
Okay.
time.
Yes.
But those codes are, yes. And again, we're at the top of the hour, so I'm going to just thank you again from the bottom of my heart. And what you remind me of is that love is the language the deaf can hear and the blind can read.
Ah,
And
beautiful. I
that is
love.
what you remind me of. So
Oh,
love
thank,
is that language, and you share that language with everyone. So,
thank. But I receive it from you too.
oh,
Thank you,
thank you.
because you are that love as well.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you being on. I'm going to remind everybody again next week at 12 noon Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern, 11 Mountain, 10 Pacific. Okay, I went through most
Yeah,
of the Western Hemisphere. Um, we're on again next week, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and have another guest. We're going to have a lot of good times and fun. And Mondays, I have Karenisms, same time on Mondays, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And I just talk about things that are on my mind, and it's open live for comments and for people to ask questions and share things.
oh,
Elsewise, I just have a lot of fun and just talk about what's on my mind. And so Karenisms on Monday, Power Surge on Wednesdays, and I look forward to seeing you all again. And don't forget to come to my retreat in October.
yes.
That being said, I love you all. Mwah, mwah, and I'm going to say ciao for now.